Morning everyone, happy November cross patches. It's not raining, but it's not sunny either. There's leaves everywhere, it's beautiful. I've been for a run and I'm back now to do Christmas trees. So this is one I'd started when I showed you on my last video. So that's the mat and this is the runner version. Again, really easy to do as usual, very haphazard. No accuracy required until you cut the blocks out. So what you need to make them is, I reckon for each square you need about 10 inches of linen or Osnaburg or that kind of fabric to go around your Christmas trees. So however many Christmas trees you want to make, you're going to need about a 10-inch square of linen for each one. And I've made up packs which I reckon will do the whole of the table mat or the runner. And that's 11 5-inch strips of fabric, so the width of the fabric, and 2 of those are the same because you need more for your binding, so you want 2.5-inch strips for your binding. So these are 5 inches by the width of the fabric, so about 40 inches. These are on my website if you want them, but otherwise use up your jelly roll strips. You don't have to have your binding the same, you can just join your jelly roll strips and do haphazard binding for the outside. So I'm going to turn the camera down and I'm going to show you how I cut out the Christmas tree blocks. Okay, so I've just blown everything all over the place. So what you want to start off with for your Christmas trees, I've used 2 different colours on mine. If you start off with a 3-inch square of each colour, or they can both be the same colour, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you want a 3-inch square of each of these. And you want a 1 inch by a 2.5 inch strip for the tree base. Your linen for each piece of Christmas tree. So you want a 3-inch by 7-inch strip of linen. So you want 2. So you want 1 for that one for that one. And then the linen for the base is 2.5 inches by 3 inches. Okay. So let's turn you down so you can see the trees. So that's you want 2 pieces like this for each of your tree bits. So 3 inches by 7 inches, okay? Then you take your 3-inch squares of green and put them anywhere along that strip. Depends how wonky and how haphazard you want your tree to be. And then just grab a ruler and just cut off a triangle shape. Okay, so cut each side, get rid of these bits, and you'll have a triangle of linen spare, so get rid of him. And then you're just going to sew these bits to each side of the tree. So if you place your tree triangle on there, sew that bit on. When that bit's sewn on, do the same with the other side and then open it out, and you will end up with a piece like that. Okay, so you want to make 2 of those, as I say, random and haphazard as you want. So make the next one, put your triangle maybe a bit further along on the bit of linen. When you finish them, just trim off these raw edges, okay? And then on your tree stump, so here's your tree stump, so that's the 1 inch by 2.5 inch piece of fabric in the middle, and then you've got a 2.5 inch by 3 inch either side. So you're going to make 2 pieces of this, and then that's going to be your stump at the bottom, and then you're going to join them together. Okay, so when you've joined them together, they will look like this. But you want to make your tree into a 5-sided shape. So I've just cut off that side. You can cut off either side, doesn't matter which side you want to cut off, or you could have cut a strip off there. And then you're going to start adding 1.5-inch strips around the edge of it, and you're going to just go round. You're going to start on this edge that you've cut off, and you're just going to keep going round. So if I grab one that I've started, so here's one that I've started, so let's take that off. So I've just got a piece of red, 1.5 inches wide. I've placed it on that edge, and then I flipped it open and I've trimmed it across the top there so that that's a straight edge. Then I'm going to take another piece of fabric and I'm going to put that on there like that, pin that on there, and then I'm just going to stitch across the top and then flip that out, and then I'm just going to keep going round and round and round and round. You'll need maybe 2 full rounds and then a couple of extra bits, because you want to be able to cut your finished block to 8.5 inches square. Okay, so let's move these out of the way. So this one is now big enough to cut into 8.5 inches. So this mat is a 12-inch square mat. So roughly make your square up to your block up to about 12 inches around. Now on my mats I've done, not only are they haphazard trees, but they're haphazard squares. So what I do is I get a square ruler and then I cut I put it wonky on the tree, and I cut out an 8.5 inch square. So there's one, so 8.5 will finish there, and then 8.5 won't quite fit there, so I'm going to have to move it around a little bit. So I'd have to put my ruler like that, cut all the excess edges off to get my wonky square. And as you can see, let's show you on this one how I've cut the squares on this one. So you can see I've cut that square on that angle, that square on that angle, and I've gone alternate on the long mat. So once you've cut the trees down to 8.5 inches square, you just join them together in any way that you want them, either the long mat or the square mat, and you use borders of 1.5 inches by 8.5. So cut a load of strips 1.5 by 8.5. On this mat you would sew one on one end and then join all the trees together using your strips, and then you can add in your cornerstones on the top row. So let me put you back up so you can see it better. There we go. All you would do then, once you join the trees together in a long row, get the remaining 4 1.5 by 8.5 inch strips and put a 1.5 inch square as a cornerstone between each one before you put it on the top. On this one you join the trees together in sets of 2. So the 2 bottom trees, I'd put an 8.5 inch strip either side of them, and the top trees the same, and then I'm going to join 3 sets of 2 8.5 inch strips and put 3 cornerstones. So put a cornerstone in the middle and one each end. So you join them then in rows. So you do the 2 8.5 inch strips and then put a cornerstone on each end and one in the middle, and then one for the middle row and then one for the top row. If you want to make a mat like this, I've just added 2.5 inch strips to the top and bottom. So my finished centre piece is about 19 inches, roughly 19.5 inches. So I've put a 2.5 inch strip on the top, and then I've used leftover 1.5 inch squares as cornerstones, because then you only need one of the 5 inch strips on out of the roll to do that border on that one. Otherwise you can do random borders, it's up to you. You don't have to do borders, as I say, you can just carry on and make loads of Christmas trees and make it bigger. Okay, so this one's all made with a Rambling Rose roll, which is on my website, and the long table mat, I made this a while ago, and I think it's a bit of French general, it's a bit of everything, a bit of Macawa, a bit of French general on that one. I don't like blinging Christmas, I like sort of subtle Christmas, so that's why I made them. So that's how you make those. Go and raid your stash bags and make some more. I'm doing a Facebook Live this Sunday, so if you look behind me you can see there's all sorts of loads of stitcheries. The next video I'm going to do will be on Christmas trees. Where are they? Someone asked me to redo the demo on these. So I need to go and hunt the other Christmas box and find the rest of them. So we'll redo the demo on that, and there's also a simpler version that's just triangles, so we'll do that as well. So I think that'll be the next one, unless the French General fabric comes in which case we'll probably do something else, so don't hold me to it. So thanks for watching. Have a lovely November weekend. Bonfire night next week, and if anyone's watching from America, good luck with the elections, and hopefully see you next week. Okay, bye.